Well, hello everyone. I decided to do a little extra vlog today because we're at a cemetery in Nashville where many famous people are buried, but sometimes there's a story that I've kind of mentioned in other vlogs that relate to something else, and today's one of those. If you remember, we were in Wink, Texas about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We went to the Roy Orbison Museum and we talked about the hardest time in Roy's life. It was in 1966. Roy's first wife, Claudette, the love of his life, the woman that he had just released a song the year before in 1965 called Claudette, the most beautiful girl in the world, the prettiest girl in the world. In 1966, Roy and Claudette went out on their motorcycles to go on a little trip together. A truck pulled out in front of Claudette's motorcycle, and an hour later, she died in Roy Orbison's arms. She was only 24 years old. He wrote a song about her death called Too Soon to Know and fell into a deep depression. He went out, began performing again, and just 2 years later, in 1968, he was on tour in London and got a call that his house had burned to the ground in Tennessee in Hendersonville, and 2 of his 3 sons died in the fire. They were staying with his parents, and so I found out that this cemetery that we're in today, both of his sons and Claudette are buried, so I wanted to come pay our respects at their grave. So they had maps online showing where they're buried, but I've been out here looking, I kid you not, for an hour and a half and I couldn't find them, so I went into the office, and 2 things are interesting. For one, they said, oh yeah, we need to redo our maps because where they were showing me was over there. So I've been over there for an hour and a half. They're actually buried over here. And the other thing they said that was interesting was that the Orbison granddaughter was just out here this past weekend putting flowers down, so that's why they know exactly where it's at. And all the way back by the tree line, we have Roy's family. And the reason I wanted to come out here was because Roy's buried in an unmarked grave and very likely would have wanted to have been buried here, or probably planned to be buried here at one time. But he did eventually fall in love and did have more sons. His love, Claudette. And one of the things they said the granddaughter said was that she used to lie about her age, so she was actually married underage. So when she died, they thought she was 26, but she was actually 24. And then here's Anthony Orbison, one of Roy's sons that died in the fire. And Roy Dwayne Orbison also perished in that fire. Roy eventually mostly lived in Malibu in his later years and everything. One of the funny stories I saw online was that his son said, you know, he always wore those dark sunglasses, but when they would go out in Malibu, they would have their dad wear like a baseball hat and no sunglasses, because that's the way that people wouldn't recognize him, was without the sunglasses. But yeah, that was such a sad time in his life, and I figured, you know, if something like that happened in my life, I would want somebody to come and pay respects at some point, you know. Even if I didn't know them, I'm gonna come out here and at least let their memory be remembered and their story be told. So it's really sad to think of that. One of the 3 sons survived. Think of what that must have been like for that son. And there's Claudette. Go listen to that song. Lovely Claudette. Definitely go check out the song that Roy recorded for Claudette while she was alive called Claudette, but also go listen to the song that he wrote about her after she passed called Too Soon to Know. Hope you guys enjoyed this vlog, and to the Orbison family, rest in peace.